Yo, what's up, guys? It's King Sean here, and this is part two to the Commanders' undrafted free agent signings breakdown and an analysis. Part one was yesterday. I went over 5 players, and today I'll be going over about 6 or 7 players. Starting off with former Georgia wide receiver Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint. He's a very interesting prospect. First of all, his name is pretty sick. I mean, Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint. The last name Jack Saint is just sick itself. But he's from Georgia. He's 6'1", 195 pounds, so he's a bit of a bigger wide receiver. He's like 6'1", 6'2". I'm pretty sure he was listed at 6'2" on the Georgia website, but on NFL.com they have him at 6'1". 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, so he has pretty solid length. Now, he is not athletic, and I know y'all know the theme of this draft, our draft class, was athleticism. Even Tyler Owens, who we picked up in undrafted free agency, he had a perfect 10 RAS score. So the theme of this draft class is athleticism. But Marcus Rosemy Jackson, he is not athletic. His athletic score on NFL.com was a 51. Can't find his RES score, but I think I remember it being like a 1.5, 1.7, something like that. It was in the one, so it was pretty bad. So he's not the most athletic guy, but he is a big guy. We need a bigger wide receiver in this room right now, in my opinion. Right now, him and Luke McCaffrey are our biggest wide receivers in the room. Both of them being 6'1". Actually, I think Luke McCaffrey is close to 6'2". So Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint would be second, just behind Lucas McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey. Some of his strengths, like I said, good size with long arms and big hands. I don't think he dropped a single pass this past season with Georgia, so that's really good. He's a contested catcher, which we need, which is probably the reason why we drafted Luke McCaffrey, because before Luke McCaffrey, the only really good contested catcher we had in our receiver room was Terry McLaurin, arguably one of the best contested catching wide receivers in the NFL over the past couple of years. So shout out to Terry for that. But we needed another contested catcher, and Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint, he could be that for us. Now his weakness is he's likely to struggle with clean releases against NFL press, and he also lacks convincing deep speed to keep cornerbacks from sitting on route breaks. So like I said, he didn't run a 40-yard dash at the combine, but he doesn't have amazing speed, which could be a problem. And also he sometimes drifts instead of sitting when working zone beaters underneath. Now, I heard some teams had interest in him, like maybe taking him on day 3, maybe like round 5, 6, or maybe even round 7, but he fell out of the draft and we picked him up. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of the signing. I think he had like over 500 yards this past season with Georgia, and like 6, 7 touchdowns, or like 5, 7 touchdowns, something like that. So this guy could be a candidate to make the final 53-man roster. And I'm a fan of this guy, I really am. Now we got him. We got De'Ami Brown, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, Olamide Zaccheaus, James Crowder, and a few other guys as well. So this guy could be a prime candidate to make the 53-man roster. All right, so let's talk about Ben Nichel, former Iowa safety. We signed him yesterday, and this is a pretty interesting prospect. I'm not 100% sure if he played receiver, because I'm searching him up right now online, and it actually says he played receiver, I want to say. Yeah, so at McPherson College in 2021, he compiled a total of 107 receptions for 1,570 yards and 10 touchdowns in his 3-year career over there. And then when he got to Iowa State, he made the transfer over to DB. This past season, he played in all 12 games for them, had 40 total tackles, 1 TFL, and 3 pass deflections, but doesn't have a single interception in his career. So he just, recently made the transition over from wide receiver to DB. Now, there's not a bunch of information on this guy. He's 6 foot, 199 pounds. Let's go over some of his strengths and weaknesses. He has a good combination of size, speed, and quickness. Has the explosion and quickness testing was above. Well, his explosion and quickness testing was above the NFL norm for his position, DB. So that means his explosiveness and quickness was, above average before your average safety, obviously, which is really good. And he shows off good speed as a gunner and in kick coverage, so we can work on special teams. And, Adam Peters and company, they love special teamers. Like Jeremy Reeves is a good special teamer. We signed Anthony Pittman as well as Jeremy McNichols, who all three of them can work on special teams. So, special teams very important, and this could be a guy that we may keep on the 53-man roster. I doubt it, But if we were to, he would start off on special teams immediately. Now, some of his weaknesses: only has 1 season of college experience as a safety. Like I said, made the transition from wide receiver to safety once he got to Iowa State, which was back in 2021, 2022. So this past season was really his only season as a starting safety. And he doesn't appear to have much route recognition, which comes, with being a first-time safety, first-time DB. He does not do a good job with recognizing routes, which is one thing he needs to fix. But I feel like he can fix that. We can coach him up. He's very raw, and he has tools to be a pretty good safety. But this may be a guy we just, bring him in to try him out. Could be a little camp body, but he is a pretty intriguing prospect, interesting signing here. And, we'll see what he does over the duration of rookie minicamp, off spring workouts, and training camp. All right, so next up, we got Chigo Zandum. I hope I pronounced his name right. I really do. Excuse me if I did not. But this is a pretty interesting signing. Again, he is a boundary cornerback, and we didn't actually draft a boundary cornerback in this draft. We did draft, obviously, Mike Sanders still, and I was kind of surprised that we didn't go out and with one of our 5th round picks or our 7th round pick to draft a boundary cornerback. Cam Hart was there at 139 as well as 163, I'm pretty sure. So I was so sure that we were going to draft him with one of those picks. Or, we could have drafted Kyrie Jackson. He fell into the 4th round. I thought we would trade, package up our 5th round picks and move up for him because he's a pretty solid cornerback prospect. But it is what it is. We didn't draft one, but we did pick up a couple. Yesterday, I'm pretty sure it was AJ Woods out of Pittsburgh. And then today, all these signings, all these UDFA signings we made yesterday, I'm just splitting them up into 2 videos. So we made the signing yesterday. We made all of them yesterday. So this is another pretty interesting signing. Like I said, he's been in college for 5 years now, since 2019. Played his first 3 years in California and these last 2 at Colorado State. Didn't really do much. Didn't have much production at California, but in 2022 when he joined Colorado State, he played in all 12 games, had 36 total tackles and 1 TFL with 9 pass deflections. That's actually pretty good right there. And then this past season, played in all 11 games, had 35 total tackles, 2.5 TFLs, 1 interception for 3 yards, and 2 pass deflections. So his production over the past 2 seasons with Colorado State actually haven't been terrible at all. You may wish for better production, but it's not bad. 6'1", 200 pounds. He's projected to be an average backup or special teamer. He was projected to go actually round 6 or 7, so to be a day 3 pick, but he did fall out of the draft entirely. He's a big cornerback with muscular build and plus wingspan, so he's a long, lengthy cornerback with a nice build. He might have the right blend of athleticism and tackling to relocate to safety if he wants to. So, say Dan Quinn, Joe Wood Jr. say, you know what, we see you as a better fit at safety. They might just decide to move him at safety rather than playing at cornerback, which could be a good fit for him. And also, he has adequate balance to gather and phase the cornerback route. So those are his strengths right there. Now, some weaknesses: his long speed and burst to close fail to impress. So he doesn't have great long speed or burst, although his athleticism is not bad at all, and he could play at safety with that athleticism. His lack of instincts and decisiveness to make plays on the ball as a pro. So like I said, not enough production over his entire collegiate career. Only has 1 interception in his entire collegiate career, which isn't great, and that's due in part to his lack of instincts and decisiveness. So if he can improve that, his production, I feel like, could be much, much better. So this is a pretty intriguing signing. He could make the roster. We'll see. We have a lot of cornerbacks on this roster already, but this is definitely going to be a player to watch. Next up, we have former Toledo offensive lineman David N. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name because I already know I'm going to butcher it. But David N., he is another pretty interesting prospect. I want to say he is an interior, actually he's a tackle. He is an offensive tackle out of Toledo. He's 6'4", 293 pounds, which is a little undersized for your typical tackle. His RAS score was a 4.92, which ain't great. He did have an elite composite explosion grade. He had a 32.5-inch vertical and a 9.2 broad jump. That's pretty good. Ran a 5.22 40-yard dash, which isn't terrible. It's a little average, though. Had a 4.8 shuttle and an 8.083 cone, which, according to RAS, is pretty poor. That's pretty bad right there. But that's his RAS score. I couldn't find really much on this guy. He was playing for Toledo before he went to he was playing for Temple, sorry, before he went to Toledo, and he started all 13 games for Toledo this past season at right tackle. So this could be a pretty intriguing guy. Obviously, the only offensive lineman we drafted in our draft class was Brandon Coleman. So bringing in a guy like David N, could provide us another look at the tackle position. We're gonna give Brandon Coleman a shot at right tackle or left tackle. Sorry, left tackle. We're gonna give him a shot at left tackle. Now, some people prefer him at guard. He played both positions in college at TCU, guard and tackle. I feel like he'd make a terrific guard, but I'm not mad with us giving Brandon Coleman a shot at tackle at all. He could be really good for us. We will see, but I'm not mad with us giving Brandon Coleman a shot at tackle. But this guy really couldn't find much on him, but he does look like a pretty intriguing prospect. Bit short, bit undersized for a tackle, but he has pretty solid arms, and overall could be a name to watch, could be a player to watch during the offseason. All right, so next up we got Bo Barr. I really hope I pronounced his name right. Excuse me if I didn't. But this is a linebacker out of Notre Dame. It's pretty interesting because he didn't play any football for Notre Dame this past season. I'm not sure if he got injured. I'm not sure if they just decided to, leave him on the bench. I don't know, but he didn't play any football for Notre Dame this past season. But he's been in college since 2018. He hasn't had the greatest production throughout his collegiate career. His best season came in 2021, though, when he had 47 tackles, 23 solo for 24 assists, 1.5 sacks, and 1 interception for 79 yards. That's pretty impressive right there. And he also had 5 pass deflections. So it seems that he's not bad in coverage based off of his stats. Maybe right, maybe wrong. We'll see. In 2020, he had, let's see right here, I want to scroll over, 26 tackles, 17 solo, 9 assists, 1 sack, 1 interception, and he had 1 pass deflection as well. So 2021, 2020 were probably his best seasons of his collegiate career. But other than those seasons, hasn't had really amazing production. So I couldn't find much on this guy, but this is another pretty interesting signing right here. He could be something. Now, we already have a lot of linebackers on our roster. I mean, we signed Frankie Louv this offseason, Bobby Wagner. We also got Jamin Davis. We drafted Jordan McGee. We signed Anthony Pittman, Mikal Walker. So we got a ton of guys. So this guy is a long shot from actually making the team. I mean, we'll see how he performs during rookie minicamp and other spring workouts and training camp. But this guy probably is a long shot, but we shall see. All right, so the last guy we're going to talk about in today's video is Michael Wiley, former Arizona running back. This is the second running back we have signed during this UDFA process so far. He's honestly, I like him more than Austin Jones. I watched some of his highlights, haven't gone into his film yet, but just decided to search up some highlights on him, and he's had some pretty big runs at Arizona. His stats, his production hasn't been amazing. I mean, this past season only had about 70 carries for 311 yards and 3 touchdowns. But in 2022, he had 113 carries for 771 yards and 8 touchdowns, 6.8 yards per carry. That is absurd in my opinion. I mean, that's really good. He is, let's check right here if I can pull up his measurements real quick. This is a pretty, like I said, interesting signing. He's 5'10 and a half, 210 pounds. He was actually listed at 6 foot on Arizona's website, but he's actually 5'10. Still not bad. 30-inch arms, 9.25-inch hands. He has a 75 athleticism score according to NFL.com. Ran a 4.51 40-yard dash. To be honest, there were a lot of slow running backs coming out of this year's draft. I think the fastest was actually Isaac Guerrero, who I actually really wanted with one of our 5th-round picks. He's a very solid running back, very fast running back. I think he went to the 49ers, which is a great fit for him because he can just, sit back and learn from Christian McCaffrey. So that's a great fit for him right there. But yeah, he ran a 4.51, a 1.54 10-yard split, had a 33.5 vertical jump and a 9.11 broad jump, had a 4.43 20-yard shuttle, so not bad right there. Some of his strengths. Now, he doesn't have the consistency, and I think this is one of the reasons as to why he fell out of the draft. He does not have the consistency that NFL coaches really desire. He just didn't show enough of it in college, which is unfortunate. But he does have short area bursts and vision that are very translatable traits when going from college into the NFL, so that's really good. He has a nose for the end of the zone with a score every 6.3 touches. That is really, really freaking solid. He keeps his shoulder square and bounces off of first contact, and he is able to drop pad level low and hammer tackler at the finish. So he's able to bulldoze. He's able to push his way through to fight for extra yards, which is pretty solid. Now, some weaknesses: he has a hard time locating and processing reads quickly, and zone running style lacks desired tempo and rhythm, and obviously, like I said, that consistency. But those two weaknesses I just named, those are easily coachable. And then his consistency, we just need to see him do more of the big plays, the big runs, more and more often in the NFL, because he just wasn't consistent enough for NFL coaches, NFL scouts, NFL GMs to actually select him in the draft. So this is one of my favorite, UDFA signings. He does have a pretty good chance to make the roster. We have him, Austin Jones, C-Rod, Eckler, and B-Rob. I feel like B-Rob and Eckler obviously locks to make the roster. Now it just comes to the matter of if we're gonna take 3 or 4 running backs. If we keep 3, who's gonna be that third guy? If we keep 4, who's gonna be that third and fourth guy? And I feel like Michael Wiley has a chance to be our third or fourth running back. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment down below your favorite UDFA signing the Washington Commanders have made so far. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.